Is this
Oh,
going to be a
and
wait.
recorded podcast or live?
record it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
much better.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not nervous.
Welcome to the In Between Podcast. It's where I'm in between podcasts, and it's about animation. And in between frames are in between keyframes for.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Stev Ray Bro. I'm your Sem Pizza Pie, as the people on the live streams like to call me. And today we have a guest, Jaltoid,
hello.
howdy.
also known as Dalton and Emi.
Oh,
Which one of you is Dalton? Which one of you is Emi?
I'm Dalton.
I'm Emmy.
That's right. That's
Wait,
right. You had it wrong the whole time.
That makes sense. That makes so much more sense. I've had podcasts before, but this one's going to be the one that sticks. And what you should be seeing on the screen, if you're watching this on YouTube, is some of my commission work where I'm animating or drawing, and I just record at my screen. And this is kind of a way for you guys to enjoy Watch Me Draws while having something interesting to listen to and not just music. Though, if you like, you can always mute me and just watch the video.
yeah,
Wow.
shut up, Steven.
No,
Yeah.
don't. I love your voice. Just keep
Aw.
going.
You guys are really adorable. You guys I met at Indie PopCon last year.
Yeah, for the first time in person.
Yeah, in person, we met online for Indie PopCon, like in
Mhm.
December or January last year.
Well, because I found out you guys lived really close, like just a state away. And I was like, all right, let's get these guys. They could drive. It'll be awesome. It'll help the budget for PopCon. And last year I was kind of like an ambassador. I was a YouTuber that was a guest, but I also helped out with the convention because I'm just kind of a helpful guy like that. And basically it was a way for me to add networks of YouTubers onto my Skype list. And you guys just seem very genuine. You guys are really cute. You guys are just really cool. And we clicked. You know, we're animators.
Yeah.
And so like basically we played Splatoon together, and that's how we bonded.
You're a kid now, you're a squid now, you're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid, you're a squid, you're
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I haven't played Splatoon since like we last played, I think.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, whoops.
I don't know. I have lost interest in it, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have logged on to like use the washing machine thing, the whatever it's called. It's a bucket.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Ah, jeez.
They've added new weapons, and there's a bunch of new maps, but they did announce this year, 2016 was going to be the last year for after December of 2015, they were going to be doing no more updates. Like
Oh, shit.
they're like, all right, we did our year and a half of like, you know, free updates. We're not planning on doing any paid DLC. Enjoy your game, and it doesn't quite feel completely full. I mean, granted, I haven't played it in a while. But the new stages are getting very imaginative, and they started adding elements from the single player, like I forgot what. Oh, I think it might have been the cubes. No, they added the zip lines, I think. But they did add some elements from the single player game into the multiplayer levels, which is cool.
I'm more so surprised that they did so much like free DLC after the game came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a $60 title. It felt more like a $40 title. But like the fact that they did so many updates, I think it kind of justified it for me.
That's
Because
kind of the like how Nintendo rolls now, though.
A little
Like
bit.
Mario Maker doesn't feel like a $60 game either. But they keep updating it, and it's making the investment feel a lot less. Like, it hurts the first time, but it's easing over time. And I think it's also partially because Nintendo really likes to spoon-fed content to people.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get all of Splatoon. You know, most of it was still on the cartridge or on the CD or, you know, in the game data. Like, they all had it ready. It's just they gave us small little things and eventually unlocked stuff. And I don't know if that really helped or dishelped. Like, in one way, it did elongate the people playing the game because people were waiting for that content and they kept coming back. And I think the longevity of the game might increase, but it also was very frustrating early on when you're like, I want rank matches. Well, you have to be level 10 before you can do rank matches. Like, what?
Yeah, get a little experience. A lot of competitive games, there's some kind of like arch you have to go over because they don't want anybody who's inexperienced getting into like high rank matches where
Like
people are a
me.
lot better.
Oh boy. But today's topic, the discussion that I want to have with you guys is cartoons that you felt like you weren't supposed to watch, but you did anyways.
Ooh.
Particularly gender-based is what I'm thinking of. Like, there was a bunch of TV shows that I watched, like As Told by Ginger, Sailor Moon, or a few other particularly aimed at girl TV shows, but I wound up watching and never really talked about. But first, we do have a couple of segments regarding news.
Ooh.
I
Fun.
debated on like introducing this like Akeem Star because recently out of nowhere, Drama Alert's becoming really popular, or at least I'm seeing it more and more, and it's both frustrating and well, it's just really frustrating. I don't know, not a big fan. What about you guys?
I've at first it was like interesting. It's like, oh, look at all this drama that's happening, and then it just doesn't feel very healthy to be focusing so much on the drama of YouTube. And I don't know, I've got a mixed feeling about it because of how like what's the long-term effect of this whole like obsessing over the drama of YouTube?
Well, I mean, we do know that the YouTube audience particularly loves negative things like angry reviews,
Oh yes, they do.
prank videos, like what people find entertaining is easily seen as toxic.
I mean, you could argue a lot of our videos are meant to stir up controversy and kind of paint a
Yeah.
negative picture of some topics.
Gamer girls.
No.
Yeah.
That's something that really happened, but no one believes us.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All of our videos are based on things that actually happen. Well, like almost all of them based on things that actually happen.
Just exaggerated.
Yeah,
and
duh, exaggerated.
not an accurate representation of what literally happened, just like the basic principles of what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, those usually work out the best because they are showing you a experience in your life, which I feel like every time I end up talking to you guys in a public forum, I always bring up the anxiety sandwich video.
Yeah.
And
That's so. It still happens, okay? It still happens.
okay. I have a fun story here. I think I told it on the Pan Pizza podcast a couple of days ago, but so a friend of mine left his gloves, and he's really passionate about his gloves for winter.
Oh, yeah.
And I've told you guys before, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure I say this open on the air. And I had my own anxiety moment there where, okay, so my friend's just like, oh, my hand's cold. If I had my gloves, I'd be able to keep them warm. And like every time we walked outside, because he lives in Delaware. He came and visit me, and he forgot the gloves at a breakfast place we eat at. And at the breakfast place, they close at 3. We realized it by 4, so we couldn't go back. But so we did the rest of our day, and then every time we walked outside, oh, my hands are cold. So like I'm like, fine, buddy, I'll go tomorrow. I'll go pick them up and I'll mail them to you. And I recently downstairs there's smokers, and so like my apartment sometimes I don't notice it because I'm a hermit and I don't leave my house rarely. So like
Same.
I just I get used to the smell. But like when I leave for like a weekend or something, I come back and then there's this awful odor, or like I can smell in my clothes later. So like I got some stuff for it. I got a air purifier to help with that, and so now I have this big box. So I got the gloves and I threw the gloves in the box, taped up the box, and I mailed that. Like I just took this Amazon box that's huge, about up to my waist, with these 2 little gloves, no packing peanuts or anything, just that so they can move around. And I go and I take it to the post office, and I'm like, this is gonna be hilarious. He's gonna get home, and boom, here's these gloves. And then it's like, it's all great, and they're like, all right, let me pay for for the postage. And I thought they do it by weight, exclusively weight. So like, oh, it can't be that much. The gloves weigh nothing, and then they're like, oh, it's gonna be $35. I'm like, oh, but like it was, we're already there. All I have to do is swipe. When I found out the price, and I'm too far in to back out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just think of this as a gift. like how do I warrant this $35 purchase? And the sad part is he never really like gave me a reaction to make
Oh,
it
no.
really. No, it was just like, got my gloves, thanks.
Oh no.
Like I wanted him to call and be like, really, man, really, or something, and I never got it.
Oh,
Joke's on me.
maybe that was his plan. Like, he said this big box. I'm not gonna let that bother me. I'll show him.
I'm sure he ranted to someone, just not me. Probably his wife. But yeah, so but someone actually brought up that video because I don't necessarily like bring you up, like, hey guys, I know Jaltoid, but a couple of times where like there's a anime thing, or like I'm at like an anime convention, or I'm hanging out with the anime group that I know, I'll bring up you guys, and oh yeah, they like this, or they're really sweet, because a lot of times anime fans equal Jaltoid fans. Like I found that out.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that.
I figured that sort of thing would happen.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have kind of this like cute
I like the
chibi
anime
art
stuff.
style.
I
Yeah,
guess
I mean-
it wouldn't surprise me. That's not something I was aware of.
Yeah, so like I'll bring you guys up, and it's surprisingly, again, the same thing happens as they always mention the sandwich video. And I think deep down, a lot of people on YouTube, while they love they love toxic things, they also are looking for something a little bit more, with something a little bit substance, and something they can relate to, and something they can get closer to the content creators. And that video strikes a chord for people.
Would you like that toasted?
Oh, no thank you.
Into the toaster it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I got some minor news. It's funny. I felt like I had stuff planned, and then like I can't find any of the links that I have. So like some of the news today is going to be a little bit lackluster unless you're in certain fandoms or groups. Particularly, I found out that Game Grumps is no longer with Maker Studios or Polaris.
Hey, I'm Grump. I'm not so Grump. And we're the Game Grumps.
And I find that super fascinating. What about you guys?
I kind of saw that coming. Some of the tweets that I was reading from Aaron seemed to kind of like this was kind of inevitable. It seems like
Oh, yeah.
Maker wasn't treating him too well.
That whole issue where Maker kept threatening certain
Yeah,
YouTubers, like, if you don't make this private, we're going to delete the
Remove it.
videos.
I think that happened. I think it was Jesse Cox where
Yeah.
he was like threatened by Maker, "Hey, take this video down, or we will."
And it was just like one in the middle of his series.
yeah.
So
So
that
he
really
would have
would
had
fuck
like a
things up.
missing video in the
Yeah.
middle, and Aaron was just like, I wish they would speak up more. It seems like they hold their tongue a lot about like
well, maybe they're
certain
worried that
issues,
they're.
like burning
know.
Bridges. Like I can
Yeah.
understand that, but
I mean, I would be.
He did seem excited that Jesse spoke up,
Yeah.
which I don't know that's
Because
still,
that definitely happened to Game Grumps before.
Mhm.
I know. And like, they're not even allowed to sing certain songs. Just sing them with their own voice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, because one thing is speaking up's difficult sometimes because
Yeah.
there might be contract things, and with Maker being one of the first MCNs, and now being controlled by Disney of all things, it's scary. Because like one thing I would be worried about as someone who creates content or creates anything, or especially animations, is that like Disney has maybe if you're grandfathered in with old contracts, it's not so bad. But I would be terrified to be joining Maker or Polaris now, like with new contracts,
Yeah.
because Disney's notorious for owning ideas regardless. Like, if you work as a janitor at one of the Disney parks and they can prove that you came up with the idea during your time working with them, in contract, they own your IP.
The Disney landlord of your intellectual property.
Like that's from
Wow.
what I heard. I've never like read through any of the contracts. So, but like, I went to school and we had at a art college, and like there was a culinary. It was great. Culinary had actual internships at Disney because at the Disney parks and such. But none of the animators could get any internships through the school. It's adorable like that. But anyways, so a lot of the culinary people were telling us about like the contracts and how those things work. And so that was like 5, maybe 6, 7 years ago. So it's been a little bit. So maybe things have changed. But I've heard rumors that like if you like, even if you came up with the idea when you're not working, but they just have like a window of being like, well, you were kind of on our dime, so I guess that makes us ours. So I would be terrified if they would pull stuff like that. And we've
Yeah.
seen other networks do that, and they might even been Maker. I don't know who, like Daily Grace lost her channel because, or oh no, yeah, I think it was Maker. It was because Ray William Johnson, he got his channel back, but I know that there was a lot of problems where Maker wanted to own the IP, own the rights to his content, so that if they wanted to, they could replace him and just keep the show going. And then they did that with Daily Grace. Early on, they like took her old videos and started re-uploading them as new videos because, you know, new fans, you don't really keep fans in the same way as you think you would like to think. You know, a lot of times the 10,000 to 100,000 people watching your videos each week, those people are new people and not reoccurring. And so the new subscribers wouldn't know old videos to new videos.
Right.
And it's actually very shocking. Well, it makes sense. Vlogs, Let's Plays, and other things, you really don't have time to go back and watch old archives unless you literally have no life.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
unless you have something where you're like on a desk job and you're able to listen to podcasts the entire time. But if you go to school, work, or anything like that, you can't really like dedicate all this time to going back and watching, you know, years of like, because each day a lot of these people are creating 30 minutes to an hour worth of content. That adds up really quickly. So my point was, you can repackage old videos as new ones, and a lot of people won't notice unless you're a smaller channel. Like if you have over 1,000 videos, you could do it. If
Yeah.
you have like 100 videos, someone's going to notice and start complaining.
Yeah, a problem with doing that though is you can kind of dilute your audience. Like I've seen this before, and you have to be worried about losing kind of your core audience, and you have to be constantly growing to people who are oblivious to the fact that you've made these videos before. But when what you're talking about, like networks with like shady contracts, I won't name any network names or YouTuber names, but there was a network that had a death clause in it, and there was a YouTuber that died, and they were claiming that they owned their YouTube channel and they were refusing to hand the channel off to the person that they wanted to hand it off to. And it didn't go public, but if that would have gone public, it would have been a PR nightmare. Which I can tell you about the details later, Steven, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was because it was not my situation to comment on, so I'm not
Oh,
gonna
no,
like
that's
put
fine.
anything out there.
That's just amazing. I just know that like Daily Grace's channel, going back to that, it's now like being updated by random people. It's not Daily Grace, like it's called Daily Grace, but they like now hire people to be the spokesperson for that channel, and she had to move to a different one because of these shady contracts. Or what's even weirder is like Fred. Remember Fred?
Yes.
Yep.
Apparently that guy quit, left, and sold his channel. Like sold it for like a good amount of money, and now just random people own it and they upload content. Because you know, he's even with it being kind of a dead channel and not gaining as nearly as many views as it once did.
Yeah.
It still already has, you know, it's going to be seen by at least 30,000 people when you upload a video, regardless of its interest of them, because someone is
Yeah.
subscribed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I
Anyways,
didn't know he
that's
sold
kind of
his channel.
yeah. I randomly stumbled upon it, and I was like, "Whoa, really interesting." But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about YouTube because this is a animation podcast. Though I think you guys we kind of like started dipping in a little bit of drama alert
A little
stuff
bit.
before the podcast, and yeah. So, what was some of the things that were happening?
I don't know if I want to get into some of them. Some of them are pretty, like one of them is pretty depressing, and
Wow.
another one's about a YouTuber that got banned because
I hate everything.
Oh.
yeah.
That guy.
What about how? Actually, I don't know if that's a good thing to talk about. How people's accounts were getting hacked.
Oh, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We can touch upon.
Yeah,
it.
touch on it.
I mostly just want to bring up like the weirdness of fans in that situation. As you guys may or may not know, Markiplier, big Let's Player, one of the biggest like gaming YouTubers outside of say PewDiePie, recently got hacked. It was a weird hack job. Like essentially, it was we put this video on top of on your page. And what's really impressive is they like took a song and changed the lyrics, and it sounded pretty good. Like, that was literally the most impressive thing in the whole hacking thing. As for the rest of the stuff, it was just kind of like really lame. It's just like, hey, we put this video up. PM me if you want to, get your channel back. And then they did leak some information about Markiplier's finances, and all I can say, I won't specify what amount it is, but holy crap. I obviously went in the wrong market.
Should have stuck with Let's Plays.
Rip.
Man. I mean, it makes sense. They get longer content, so their
Yeah.
ad revenue is like triple by default. And then on top of that, they get to upload 2 or 3 videos a day with very, I'm not saying that being a entertaining person is not hard. That is definitely difficult. I know that whenever I did live streams, like I've been doing a couple of them now, I'm exhausted afterwards. Mm-hmm. And it's all I'm doing is what I normally do, but talking to someone. But you also feel like you're putting on a show,
Well, you are. Like, that's the hardest part about doing Let's Plays and, like, or just being an entertainer on YouTube is filling the time. Like, it may seem like, oh, yeah, I could play a video game for an hour, but imagine playing a video game and talk the entire time and don't stop.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot harder to say than do. Because if someone's watching your content for the Let's Play, then like a lot of people don't really want you to stop talking for even a second unless something super intense is happening on the screen that you're really engaged in.
Yeah.
But you pretty much have to talk the whole time, and that may seem easy, but it's not.
It really isn't. Like, well, for me, like the people who do talk constantly or like, because when you watch Let's Plays that are edited where they can just cut to the funny parts, it's not so bad. But like when they're having to say everything live and constantly talking, they sometimes just say gibberish and like nothing with actual substance to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like us.
Yeah. Yep.
No, you guys have at least have a
No,
partner.
it's true.
Okay. But yeah, so that's basically. I didn't want to dip too much into YouTube. We've already like 20 minutes into the podcast, and we haven't even talked about animation. So let's jump back into animation front, and let's talk about cartoon shows that you watched that you felt like you weren't supposed to. Now, particularly, I'm interested in gender, but we can also talk about if you accidentally stumble upon an anime or an adult cartoon and you watched it and you were afraid of getting scared as a kid, something along the lines of that. I just think this has a lot of room for really cool discussions.
Oh boy, what direction?
I feel like I should start with you, Dalton.
Me? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Like everything interesting. Well, I mean, things that you weren't supposed to watch. Just in general, we stumbled onto the South Park movie when we were like 7. When I was like 7-ish,
That reminds me, I've got a good one.
and that was not. Yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to happen because I went to school and like mimicked a lot of the shit. I'm just like an idiot kid.
That's right.
Oh, that didn't go over well.
For me, I never really got into South Park as a kid. Like, I just never got interested. Like, people talked about it, and I was just like, it's just being raunchy to be cool. Like, it's just trying to be adult. Like, that was my, like, as a kid, I remember having a conversation on the school bus from elementary school back, and I just was never really impressed with it. It just didn't bother me,
Mm.
But, all right, Emmy, you said you had something interesting to say.
That just reminds me of, I remember when I was little, I couldn't sleep. And so I just kind of sat in the hallway while my mom was watching TV. And South Park was on, and it was the Mr. Hanky episode. And I can tell you that I was so disgustingly traumatized by seeing a little turd hopping around getting poop everywhere. I still hate him. I hate him so much. That messed me up.
How don't you like Mr. Hanky? He's a
I hate him because it was a poo, and I was never like I never saw disturbing like stuff before. I was an innocent, precious child.
Speaking of innocent, precious grandparents, my roommate, I usually go home for his holidays because I don't have a family of my own, and his grandparents are very, very interesting people. In particular, his grandmother is one that like will feed you nonstop, like I made you this, this, and this, and then comment on how you're getting fat. But his grandfather is one of those guys that just really likes attention, and he wound up seeing only one episode of South Park, and he does not understand the concept of an episode doesn't mean that what happens in an episode doesn't happen in every episode. So he truly believes that every character in South Park normally stick food up their butts and poop out of their mouth. like that's what he thinks. That's the standard of South Park. Like that is what happens in every episode, and that is a character trait.
Oh my god.
He's great. Just baby, like that's his catchphrase. He'll just randomly say, just like, look at that. And then like, usually what he tries to do is he interjects someone and goes, oh look, there's Sean doing. That's how Sean eats. Blah blah blah. Old grandpa jokes.
Oh my god. Isn't that how like life works? Everyone just shits out of their mouth.
Yes.
Well, it's how the internet works. It's how people talk to each other.
Hey.
So I remember as a kid, did you guys ever like record TV shows like on VHS, like blank VHSs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Probably my
all
parents
the time. Pause it at the commercials so you don't record the commercials.
Man, yeah. Oh, it was the days. Like I recorded everything. Like I don't have any of them in archive or anything, so I can't like bring back old TV shows. But like Digimon, I recorded every episode, and sometimes my my VCR has this mess up where it would actually rewind all the way back and start recording further.
Oh, no.
Like, yeah, so it just kind of kept recording over things, and I just remember a couple times being like, "No, my favorite part, no." But yeah, I recorded like all of Digimon season 2 on VHS. But I would also I'm not a kid, well, even as an adult, I can't stay up late. I'm just one of those early risers, and I would put the VH if there was something I was interested in watching, I put the VHS in. Like boom. And one time there was a show. I guess I was recording HBO. I don't remember ever having HBO, but somehow it recorded, and I saw the Spawn cartoon, and that freaked me out as a kid. I don't remember much. I just remember being kind of like a little.
I didn't know they made a cartoon out of that.
Pretty sure there's a Spawn TV show. I'm like, unless I'm remembering like other things.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't one. I just didn't know they did that. Let me Google that real quick.
He waits, as they all do, for a sign, a warning, something to set events in motion. Few warriors realize that the battle between heaven and hell is constant.
It looks like there might have been a TV series. Yeah, that was an adult cartoon. It was...
Cartoon. Oh, I got another one.
All right, shoot.
Okay, so I was still a baby, and I got scared in the middle of the night, so I turned the TV on, and it was definitely Adult Swim time. And you remember when they had like those transitions where like it was actually like a pool with old people getting in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that happened. And I was like, what the heck is this? And so I keep watching, and then I don't remember, I probably fell asleep, and then I woke back up. And there was like some like really poorly drawn cartoon where they had like, I don't know, this kid had like spiky orange hair.
I think I know exactly. Was it like a parody of anime? But
I don't.
But it was a flash drawn cartoon, and it was like Super Hair Awesome or something.
No,
like,
not that. I remember
okay.
seeing that. That was a good show.
Okay.
But I don't know. He had spiky orange hair, and like his whole body was blue.
Oh, you're talking about Home Movies.
Was that what that was?
Oh yeah.
All I know was someone was like holding their spine or something.
That's like
don't
part of
remember.
that's. I think that's how they animate him. Like he's always just like holding his back or something.
I don't know. I thought it was really creepy, and I turned it off, and I never turned it on that late again. It really freaked me out.
You know Bob's Burgers, the
Yeah.
guy, John H. Benjamin or something like that. I can't remember his name, but the guy who voiced Bob's Burgers and Archer, I think that was like one of his first shows, like because he was the coach in that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you should go back and rewatch it. It's really good.
That was a really flashy show. That was like one of the first like flash shows on TV.
Well, I mean that's all of Adult Swim, really, aside from like
it,
Rick
yeah.
and Morty, Boondocks, and Mike Tyson's Mysteries. And okay, there's like a handful, but yeah, and then Rick and Morty. I don't know if I said Rick and Morty or not. And even that one's kind of flashy, like it's Toon Boom, but in its pieces, but there's a little bit more effort put into it than say like Squidbillies or Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which apparently ended last year.
Did it?
Yeah, it's gone.
I never watched it, but
Yeah. Well, like there's certain things like say The Simpsons or like Stephen Colbert. Like I don't watch them, but I prefer them being on television. It gives me comfort knowing that they're there for people, even though I have no interest.
Yeah.
But by the way, Simpsons, something that kind of popped up. I think I saw it on either Reddit or
I think it was
Imager.
Imager.
Imager and Reddit kind of go hand to hand a lot. But yeah, so there's a guy that like went and compared the early season intro of The Simpsons with the newer one to show the evolution of animation or the not so evolution of animation, the de-evolution of animation. And in this GIF comparison, he also beneath that had just all the frames lined out, and the original Marge had the scene that we're talking about is Maggie in the grocery line being put in the bag, and Marge looking scared because she can't find Maggie, and then she turns and there's Maggie, and she gives a sigh of relief. And in the new, so that's the old version at least, where it's this like really fluid thing. Her hair flips. There's actual principles of animation involved. And then you have the new version of The Simpsons where Marge just turns her head mechanically over to the thing and smiles. And it's just, there's so much wrong with it, but it's pretty in that, it's designed well. It's a model sheet. It's basically just tracing over the model sheet here and there. And so it's clean, but it's sterile.
The thing that probably bothers me more than the animation is when she looks forward, her eyes are in like two different directions. She's not even looking forward. Mm-hmm. And so she's not even really paying attention to what caught her attention in the first place. She's just looking at the wall and like something in front of her. She's not even looking down.
Yeah, like she's dead. She's dead.
Yeah.
You can see the soulless eyes. There's no personality. There's no life in there.
It's like it's not so much that the animation bothers me, but the lack of expression that they gave the characters. That's probably the worst part about that. Is it's just there was just I don't know. It just seemed really like mechanical.
Yeah, well, it's because there's no actual like arc. Okay, so here's some principles that was in the original that's not. Squash and stretch, the idea that in between poses you have a contrasting pose. This one is straight up like you think of squash like as in the balls bouncing where you have like a ball squashed one way and then flattened the other. Basically what that translates to is contrast. Contrast equals good for animation. It makes it readable and just makes it look nice. And when there's no contrast, there's no shifting of poses. It's just literally stretched the entire time and no squash. It looks, doesn't look lively. And then on top of that, there's no slow in or slow out. There's no arcs. It's literally just the head turning. There's no arcs is just a way to make things look natural, because if you think about it, every living thing is on a joint-based system. If you try moving your arms, you're moving in some kind of arc no matter what, because you're pivoting. Mm-hmm. And then another one that was very interesting reading through the comments, and I realize I do this myself, but I do it so subconsciously that I never really bring it up in discussions, is that in the original she closes her eyes when she does her head turn. And in the new one, her eyes are open. Like you said, she's looking at two different directions. There's no... basically, in animation, the best thing to do when you're trying to make a character shift what their focus is on is blinking. Mm-hmm. And if you ever notice when talking to two people, when you look back and forth, you blink. And in a way... when you watch a live action movie or a cartoon movie and the camera changes between two parts whenever someone's talking, you're mimicking cuts of a film, or well, at least film cuts are mimicking you, but in a way you're editing your own life by doing these quick cuts. And I find that fascinating.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I can't disagree with that.
Good.
But you mentioned when I linked it to you yesterday that you said something along the lines of like good animation's good animation. Why are people arguing? Because in the comments, there's actually people defending the new intro.
Yeah.
The reason why I think the new one is like so, I guess like I think the original intro was done by someone who actually was trying to build the show. Like they were actually trying to make something that looks nice. And the new intro was clearly something that was made because this is an already established thing. It doesn't matter what it looks like, just as long as you keep the writing there. And that's a problem with a lot of these, newer shows is they don't really focus on making the animation look nice. And the reason why you need to throw so much of your budget into the intro is because literally every episode is going to have that bit of animation. So you want that to be looking clean and nice, and it's got to, like, it sets the tone. Because if you have bad animation in the intro, it's going to set the expectation. Well, oh, this is probably not animated very well, so my expectations have been lowered. Which, I mean, sometimes that can be a good thing if you have low expectations and then overdo it. But I don't know. That's just not really how you start off a show. Is just with animation like that.
Can I pause for a sec?
Yes.
Could you stop clicking the mouse?
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't want to make this not fun, but it's constantly clicking as he's talking.
I'm just trying to work while we're doing this.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can wrap it up soon. It can only be an hour podcast if that helps.
No, I don't. Doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Maybe you
feel
can move
bad.
the mic because it is like right.
Well, it's
Here.
right in the middle of us. It's gotta like unless you don't want to talk.
It's not like I'm really talking.
Well, I mean, but you're still part of it.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so bouncing off what you were saying, I do agree that like a lot of the intro should be about the establishing new things, putting a lot of characters, because for a lot of people, if that's the first experience with the show, like they just like, all right, I'll watch The Simpsons, let's do this. That should be introducing them to what you should expect from the show.
Exactly.
And in the original animation, there's so much more personality to Marge. Not even the fact there's like more frames with the hair and such.
Yeah.
But like she is looking around, she gasps, she gets less stiff when she realizes where Maggie is. Like there's animation to it. It's
Yeah.
life. There's a character.
It's almost like the second, like the new intro is kind of like a cheap knockoff version of the first one. Because like it's really like you said, it's not about the animation. It's about keeping the expressions. If they would have emulated the expressions and cut some corners, it wouldn't make it wouldn't be a huge deal. But the fact that she just kind of rotates her head slightly, like they took everything that scene had and just kind of erased it. And they tried to do some skewing. Oh, if you go back, it just doesn't look good. It's like one frame of it just jumps down for a frame and then up, and it looks awkward. Like that's something that even like our channel, we don't have like a super high standard for like animation, you could say. But I mean, I personally would think that looked like crap and wouldn't put it in our videos. And it's not like we have a super high standard ourselves.
Yeah, but there were some defenders. There were some people saying that, well, the focus on that shot is no longer Marge in the new version. Instead, it's Maggie because it's if you take the exact same amount of seconds, the original one it's mostly just Marge and then Maggie pops up and that's it's one story beat. The new one it's Marge turned, Maggie pops up, and then the camera moves over and there's another baby that apparently Maggie has a war with within the show because that's not been done before. And there's like a 2-frame of like Maggie like shaking her fist at the person. Like it's literally 2 drawings switched between, no animation in there. So a lot of people were like, well, they're focusing on Maggie, so that's where all the animation is. And it's like, well, Maggie still doesn't look that good either.
No.
So it does look good if you look at it from still frames. They're clean, but they're sterile. That's the problem. It's that there's no personality in the animation and it just looks pretty. And when it comes to the general audience, people who don't really care about animation per se or aren't knowledgeable about it, that pretty drawings equal good no matter what. It's like that whole, well, if you add more detail to it, that equals better. when sometimes a minimalistic approach
Yeah.
works best when it comes to art design.
It
but
works. It does work both ways. Like with animation, sometimes people can overdo it. Like there's a few animators that I know of that it's not that their animations look bad, they're just too many frames. And they could like tone that down a little bit and it would look a lot more natural and fluid, but they have so many frames it looks almost drifty, like things are almost in a little bit of like a slow motion.
there's one YouTube. I don't want to specify names because I don't want to like start any fights or anything like that. But there is a YouTuber that's up and coming, and they have like a lot of music video animations, and they have a lot of frames. They have a lot of frames in their animations, and a lot of people are like going gaga over it, and that's a lot of work, and it should be praised. But there's also like little things like some of the principles are missing, or proportions don't look quite right, or the characters don't feel like three-dimensional, or lip syncing's off. And there's these little things that like maybe it just makes me sound really crotchety and like they're doing it wrong, but they are getting a lot better. It's just one of those things that a lot of times people see, well, it's not the same drawing, so it equals good. And it's just like, people like to argue, well, keep in mind that like animation and art and everything's subjective, so it's all personal opinion and some theory, but mostly it's all, based off your experiences and your opinions. And then there's like a handful of things that you can kind of like, that is black and white, that you can go to and be like, oh, this makes it right, this makes it wrong. In particular, with video games, you got graphics, oh, my thing plays 1080p, 60 frames per second. That makes my game better. For animation, it's, well, it has more frames, so it's good. And no one can really argue. No one's really like debating or talking or discussing about it. They're just kind of like throwing out these things where it's like, this guy draws more detail, he better. This person does more frames, they better.
Yeah, motion tweens equals lazy every time.
I'm actually really, really sick of people using Flash, like using the term, this looks like Flash animation, this is Flash. And I think people tend to just like use Flash as like it's replaceable with the word bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not so much that they don't. A lot of people are saying these things actually don't know what they're talking about. They kind of like listen to a couple of online reviews, or they've heard the name, and so they kind of associate with Flash's got a bad rap, and yes, Flash is not the greatest program. Let's all step back here and like
yeah, there are not very many animators who will sit there and say, yeah, Flash is the best animation program you can get.
Well, there's one that will.
It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's good enough. Like that's my opinion on Flash.
Well, because you always have to step back and realize that a lot of people always are looking for these golden tools. Be like, oh, this guy does really good stuff. What's his program? And as if the program's doing the work, or somehow using the same program as someone else is going to increase your artistic power level. Skill, I think, is the word I'm looking for, but I'm just going to say artistic power level because that's more fun. But yeah, no. There's no like secret program. Any artist that's good, or at least worth what they're doing, should never blame the program to be able to give at least some kind of good product. It may hinder them, it may slow them down, but any good artist can use any program and make something good, even MS Paint.
I've seen people draw like the Mona Lisa with MS Paint. Like literally, there's a video.
Makes me so mad.
You guys do really good work. By the way, this video is going up on my birthday. I feel like I was going to mention that. Yeah. This is not being recorded on my birthday, but it's going up on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So.
I said it first.
She did. She's my favorite.
Wow.
Now.
That's right. Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this podcast is going up the January 22nd, and it's going to be my 26th birthday, and I literally have no plans at this moment.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was like, I probably should get people together and have like dinner or something, and I just never like got around to inviting people. So I'm just like I guess now I could, because it's like to the 20th right now, but I feel like it's too late. I feel like people are either have things scheduled or don't have time to, like, oh, you're rushing us or something,
Maybe interject into someone else's plans and like, hey, it's my birthday. You guys doing anything? Can I come along?
I'm going to my mom's funeral. We should turn that into my birthday party.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you bumped the mic.
I'm sorry.
Well, my mom's dead. Well, she can't come then. That's
Oh
fine.
my
Her loss.
God.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. One sec. I really have to pee.
Do you? All right, we can take a break.
Yeah,
if you
one
want.
sec.
Okay.
You got it.
I'll get all my clicking out of the way.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't plan for this. I've been drinking water.
Now stop drinking water.
Yeah. Sorry about the telling you not to click.
Oh, it's okay.
It makes me feel like an asshole.
No. It is. I can hear it. It is. It's because the mic is like right in front of it.
I think in general, because like if I, even though my mic's not near it, this is one of those things where it's just a loud noise, you know? Like it's not loud, like boom, boom, but you know.
Yeah. Barf. Wish I knew why I said barf.
Narf.
Barf.
This is gonna be fun. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna record this. I won't have to edit much.
Oh no.
What?
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. It's like there's a couple of different things, so it's like, all right.
Sorry. Okay, I'm good now.
Oh, you might just want to move that.
Move what?
The thing that you keep bumping into.
What? I haven't been bumping into it the whole time. It's just whenever I sit down and adjust. Okay, I'm good now.
Cool. All right, let me go ahead and make like an intro and outro part. I could put like an ad in here or something. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're back to the In Between podcast where we will eventually talk. Well, I guess we talked about animation. We just haven't talked about our subject. So let's start talking about. Well, we talked about it for a little bit with South Park, but what are TV shows, especially cartoons, that you watched that you felt like you weren't supposed to?
And
Or was
Dalton watched the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Didn't your dad make you feel bad about that?
Yeah. My parents can be a little traditional with things like that's for girls.
Oh, because its main characters are girls? And
Yeah.
the primary color is pink?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how people of their generation were raised, very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, keep in mind, my parents are pretty old. Oh, my dad's
Straight up.
literally a senior citizen. Sorry,
That's how
Dad.
you really feel.
Yeah. Like, how old is your dad?
He's in his 60s.
Oh, my mom's like 58, so...
Yeah, he's like in his mid 60s almost.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Oh yeah, I feel like I need to mention this. I've done a live stream and got it. So my mom sent me a care package for my birthday, and it's somewhat kind of like out of characteristic for her. Like she doesn't normally send me a lot of stuff, but yeah. So she sent me this care package, and my mom has this really bad habit of like sending pants. Like she sent like 3 pairs of pants, and none of them are the right size, and except for like one. There'll be like 1 in like 5 that will like be perfect and be like, this is amazing, and then the rest of them be like hugely like 5 times the size of my body. You
Oh
know,
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, it's like I don't know, like Mom, how big do you think I am? But she sent me like some weird stuff. She sent me like no bake cookies, which I will always accept. Those are amazing. Well, don't for people that send me PO box, but don't send me food. But just to clarify, I won't eat that. She sent me peanut butter fudge, and she sent me peanuts. Just peanuts.
Just straight up peanuts.
I asked her, I'm like, why'd you send me peanuts? And she's just like, well, I thought you liked them. I'm like, I've never expressed like interest in them. I'm never like, peanuts are my favorite, you know? So I don't know why she was just like, Steven really liked peanuts growing up. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I've never like, I got them occasionally. If anything, it would have been like sunflower seeds. I remember eating those a lot
Those are
whenever we went
good.
to like gas stations, But and then the last thing, the big ticket item that she sent me was a body pillow. like
Oh.
a small size body pillow. I'm assuming it's probably for kids. And it's a Jurassic World theme. So it has this big T-Rex on it.
Oh, that's not. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, well, at first I'm just like, all I saw was the T-Rex, and then I start noticing the other dinosaurs on it, and then there's like a random train. And I remember being like, why is there a train? And then it dawned on me, oh, this is Jurassic World. And so I'm like, Mom, why did you get me a T-Rex body pillow? And she's like, well, I was looking for something with a lizard on it, because you have a lizard.
Oh my.
Oh,
And I'm like, aw, Mom, do you know what type of lizard I own? Because it's not a T-Rex. And she goes, I know that. It's an iguana. And I'm like, it's not an iguana, Mom. It's a bearded dragon. My mom has this really bad habit. No matter what, she uses iguana as like it's interchangeable with the word lizard.
Oh no.
And so like kaiju to her every time I'm like, every time I call her, how's your iguana? I'm like, Mom, it's a bearded dragon. But like there's been at least 50 interactions of that. You know, like she has yet to learn, and she will never learn what a bearded dragon is.
oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you could always, get a cover for that pillow, Steven.
Actually, don't we have one that someone sent us
Yes.
from that game
Yeah.
with Big
game?
Titty?
I don't
What?
know. Yeah, it was some game came with a body pillow. And I was like, oh, okay.
Trash the game.
I thought you meant like trash the game, buy it only for the body pillow.
Oh my god.
I mean, sure, we'll do that.
Dalton
Okay.
took a picture of me with it.
What?
And then you sent it on Snapchat.
I don't remember that Snapchat.
I don't think we
remember
knew you. Yeah.
Oh. I need to go back. I want to see. All right, so cartoon shows that you watched that you didn't think you were supposed to. So you thought you weren't supposed to see Powerpuff Girls, or at least you enjoyed Powerpuff Girls, and your parents were like, "What are you doing?
Gonna grow up to be kind of funky.
You'd be funny." Oh boy, yeah, that was that one. Like the one thing about our parents is that there's this giant scare of like, well, you don't want your son to be gay, like. You see people talk about because there's this huge thing about female characters right now when it comes to like toy lines. If it's a TV show or movie that is primarily aimed like action cartoon or something, primarily aimed at boys, there's going to be a shortage of female characters. This happens through all the toy lines ever. You can't find Gwen's in Ben 10. You can't find the new Star Wars female character. You can't find Go-Go Tamango from Big Hero 6 or Honey Lemon. You can't find Gamora, whatever her name was, from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the female characters get X because our parents truly believe that like you can't buy the son of girls character. That's immoral or something. Like
It'll turn them gay.
they'll turn them gay.
Because that's how that works.
Yeah, and so like a lot of times these characters like they notice that they don't sell as often, and I don't think it's so much that like little boys are against buying female characters. I think it's more parents are like, well, I can't buy my son a girl character. That's kind of queer.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, and I found this out. There's actually a friend of mine. I was trying to help her find a costume for the new female character for Star Wars, and I think what happened was because there's none of her toys, she'd become a big topic when it comes to Star Wars merchandise. And I think scalpers went out and bought like a lot of that stuff. So like all the costumes you can only find for that character through like second party sites like eBay. Oof. And yeah.
Lame.
That's probably one of the most annoying things that has just been popping up over the years is scalping. If you don't know what scalping is, it's basically going to the store, buying something popular in bulk, and then reselling it to people who don't have it for like a higher price.
So like right now, that new Batman Superman movie, which that looks awful, is like it just released its toy line before the movie came out. And it's, the big ticket item is that it has 4 superheroes in the movie: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. And I don't think they released any of the Aquaman stuff yet, but Wonder Woman's part of the line, but because she's a female character and she's not one of the title characters, there's less of her. and she's literally nowhere to be found because some people know when the toys are going to be, put up. They have like trackers on it. They know the release dates, and they go and they purchase every single one of those just so they can go to sell them at conventions for $20 more or some online, and they make profit off of it because, well, a lot of times parents are like, my kid really wants this toy. Well, that's how much it is, and some parents go through it. I know, I'm like, my parent wouldn't. My mom doesn't know how to use the internet, let alone, like, she would have been like, that's too much, I'm sorry. Enjoy this other thing instead. We saw this with the Amiibos.
Oh, yeah.
Amiibo!
Those are really popular. Though, it seems that the Amiibo situation has cooled itself down. I always question whether or not Nintendo was being sincere with like the whole, oh, we can't ship stuff because there's a shipping strike. I was like, then when none of the merchandise come, but now that it's over and now you see every character in stores, so
Yeah.
it maybe it wasn't actually like fake scarcity. I assumed it was like them trying to get the supply and demand in their favor.
Yeah, it's also a lot of people. I guess the demand is going down, and a lot of people buying amiibos now are just like the hardcore collectors and maybe some scalpers. But we went to get. I don't know if this is just because it was Shovel Knight, but we went to go get the Shovel Knight amiibo. We were almost 2 hours late from the opening of Toys R Us, like 2 hours after they opened, and they still had their stock. Like nobody bought any yet, and there was 4, so we bought 2 of them. We bought half of them.
Yeah, well, I know that I got really paranoid about Shovel Knight, and I went to the store an hour before it opened just in case, and no one else showed up, and I was like, oh, well, I wasted my time. Thank you for the amiibo. But I think the big issue with that one, or not necessarily issue, but the reason why there's not a high demand for it is that Shovel Knight is a significantly smaller IP than 90% of any Smash. Well, definitely it's smaller than Smash Brothers, and then any of the IPs within that branch. And so I don't think it was as advertised as Hardy, as much as the other ones are, because it's Yacht Club. While they're doing really, really well, they're also not banking in Nintendo money.
Right.
And so they don't have the same budget to advertise amiibos or to really put it out there. They have their loyal fan base, and it's a nice, loud, sized fan base. It's a good sized one, don't get me wrong. They're doing well. It's just they're not as big as we like to see it, because Shovel Knight was one of those things where in certain circles on YouTube, the people were big fans, and so we got a lot of promotion of it. But as far as a mainstream game goes, it's doing all right,
Unless Shovel Knight gets a reprint of their amiibo, I have a feeling this is going to be the rarest amiibo.
I don't know if it's going to be the rarest, because they said already, they made an announcement that as long as there's a demand for it, they'll keep producing them to make sure that everyone that wants one can get one.
That makes sense. I don't know which one is they've kind of done so much restocking lately that it's hard to say which ones are rare anymore. It used to be a villager was really rare. We went to Toys R Us yesterday. They had at least 50. I'm not even exaggerating. They have so many villagers. The aisle is mostly they have more villagers than they do of any other amiibos combined. They had so many of them.
You got Dalton on amiibos. Look what you did.
Oh, I think
I'm sorry.
I think the only one that I have that's rare, that's you can't really find in the wild, or at least I have never seen, is DDD. I haven't seen him anywhere else, but
Well, that's true.
I don't think he's that rare. I've seen him before.
I haven't seen him out anywhere at all.
The GameStop that I have has one
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want me to go
Nice.
try? You want me to go grab? Wait, you said you already have one. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, you sweetie pie.
Okay? These lovely folks over here. When I met them at PopCon, they had a gift for me and their friend who went with them, and they gave me. It wasn't Greninja, was it? No,
Yeah.
it was Greninja.
Charizard?
Yeah,
no.
Greninja.
Okay.
It was either Greninja or Lucario. No, I don't have Lucario, so it was Greninja. So these lovely people gave me Greninja, especially in that time where Greninja was actually one of the rare ones. Now, because before they were I think Toys R Us exclusive.
I think so.
Yeah.
And now the exclusivity, like after the first run, no one gives a care. I found like a couple of the ones that were like Toys R Us only at Target, and Target only is at like Best Buy. So no one cares anymore. Or like one thing I don't like about Nintendo's practices is that they have, and it makes sense. It's what benefits them the most. But they'll announce amiibos as part of like exclusive deals with other things. Like the modern 8-bit amiibo can only be bought with the Wii U.
Yeah.
The Isabelle can only be bought with the really terrible Animal Crossing
It's
amiibo
so
game.
bad.
It is awful. But like I haven't played it yet, but I could just tell. I watched you guys' playthrough of it.
So
That
bad.
was a thing. But they have a bad habit of releasing those things after the fact. But they don't announce they're releasing them separately because they want you to purchase the other thing and make more money off of it.
Yep. Like yesterday I saw the green Yoshi all by himself.
Yeah, that was only supposed to
That
come with
and
the
we were
game.
told that is only coming with the game. Like you can't get it outside of the game.
Oh, because you guys, whenever you need one, you have to buy 2 things of it
Yeah.
for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
See, like I would have just shared it with each other, just been like, "It's ours,"
no.
because you guys are engaged.
I know, but they're by amiibos.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. We just like having our own collection. Like, oh, this is mine. This is mine.
So we have our own desks that we fill with our merchandise.
Yeah. Like,
Your own merchandise that you buy of other things, not your own
Oh, yeah.
merchandise.
Like-
Here's my Dalton Emi bobblehead.
like there's a few amiibos that I have that she doesn't, and same with her. Like, you know, she's got like Pit and Lucario and Marth, and I've got Little Mac, Captain Falcon, and
Oh, and Shulk. I have Shulk.
I've got She doesn't have Bowser Jr., Dr. Mario.
I want Bowser Jr.
Yeah, Bowser Jr. is awesome. He's got a really good sculpt.
Yeah.
I like Bowser Jr. Probably my favorite amiibo though, like as far as like detail goes, has to be that Bowser Mario Party one. That's like the best amiibo, I think, in my opinion. Do you have that one?
I have 3 Bowsers.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because they just re-released again another one of those that they try to like make people buy with the game. They had the Skylander Bowser.
Oh, yeah.
They just released that as a separate toy now. It's still kind of expensive because you have to get it with the little like plane thing that I didn't care about. But that one's the best Bowser. He's got it. It's Bowser with the hammer. Come on, it's so awesome.
Is that an amiibo and a Skylander, or
Yes.
just a Skylander?
No, it's Amiibo and a Skylander. What's really weird though is that you have to twist it to change settings. It's like the Toys R Us person kept complaining. It's like, yeah, remember you have to twist it. I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah. A lot of parents keep like calling and like being like, this doesn't work because people are buying it exclusively as an Amiibo, not as a Skylander, and it's not
no.
working on any of the games.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You think they could have figured that one out? Like,
I honestly I don't remember anything about it being said on the package, but with me I'm like, I got it. Yay. I use most of the amiibos as less of like game mechanic stuff and more just something to set on like my shelves.
yeah, like
Yep,
half of mine
same.
don't even have data
I
on
don't
them.
even play Smash, so.
Well, there's other games besides Smash that these things work with, like Mario Maker or I think Mario Tennis.
Mario Kart, they like some of them. work
Where's
with Mario Kart.
Rosalina amiibo for Mario Tennis? Give me that tiny.
Mario Party. They
Mario
didn't.
Party, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want the
Well,
one where she's
There's
in
no
the
amiibos
outfit.
for the tennis lineup.
In the outfit.
So it was really funny. It was someone actually was talking to me about like the 3 princesses, and like I particularly prefer out of all the color schemes. I really like Daisy. Like I think her color is really cool. Peach is old school, so I like Peach as well. But like Daisy's probably my favorite out of the 3. But someone was telling me that they hate Daisy and they hate Princess Peach, but they only like Rosalina. And I think the really weird thing about that is they're all kind of the exact same character. They don't really have any distinct personalities, and their designs aren't different enough to really hate one and love the other because
Daisy's
they're
actually
literally.
Probably the only one with a really unique personality because in all of the games that she's in, especially Mario Strikers, she's fucking crazy.
Well, I know. Oh, Well, I know that they were originally like wanting to make her a tomboy, have her more in shorts. They had her with shorter hair. At one point, she was supposed to have darker skin because she's from the desert, and then they like
Yeah.
slowly like, well, lighter skin's more attractive apparently, according to Nintendo, and so they whitened her up, and then yeah, I mean, but my point was like, I don't understand people that love one of the princesses but absolutely hate the other.
Yeah, that's a little funny.
I mean, I can kind of get Daisy's hate because hi, I'm Daisy. You know?
Hi, I'm Daisy.
Yeah.
I did it.
But as for the other ones, not so much. Like I don't understand. But like someone was like very passionately hating the other two princesses, but saw Rosalina as the perfection.
She's a space babe.
Dalton's a Rosalina fanboy.
I just I think the fact that she's space themed kind of bothers me because like all the other Nintendo characters or all the other Mario Nintendo characters are all just kind of like, well, we're Mushroom Kingdom people. We're just, average Joe people. And then Rosalina comes like, I'm a space goddess.
Yeah.
I'm special. I can float. I have the galaxy in my vagina.
She's a dolphin.
Yeah, she is a dolphin.
Her
And
spirit
she's also
animal's a
really
dolphin.
big. She's like
bigger
than
as big
everyone
as
else.
Bowser,
Yeah.
basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's
she's
how she's
actually large. Like,
Oh.
portion bigger than everyone else.
She didn't seem bigger on my Mario poster. Because, like, I have this really awesome... It's all the Mario characters, new and old, at least the main set. But they're all in, like, the Super Mario World art style.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
Okay.
about.
It's officially made. Like, it's not like a fan-made thing. But it was just really cool to see, like... As much as I hate Waluigi, it was cool to see him and Daisy. Yes, I hate Waluigi. Let's open this wound.
I think they probably did that for the poster just to, like, usually when they have them all together, they're all sized the same, but, like,
Yeah.
that's why she's a heavy class in Mario Kart, because she's just gigantic. Like, she's big. And
Even in
Mario
Smash,
Galaxy,
she looks bigger. But yeah,
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy, she's huge.
yeah, that's where you can actually, like, see the difference in size of, like, Mario versus Rosalina.
I don't know why they
She's
did that.
Huge. I don't know.
I don't know,
She's
I kinda liked her.
from planets, just planet size.
But in Mario 3D World, she's regular size.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
They probably-
Fuck you, Nintendo.
They probably do that to fit like because she obviously can't have, like a giant Mario character like in the middle of all these like smaller ones. So I
That would
think
make her awesome.
it would, but I guess they're going for like how everything looks and whatnot.
All right, so jumping back onto the actual topic, so we can,
Have we
so I
been
can
avoiding that topic the whole time?
We basically like I'm trying so hard because like that was one thing that like the Pan Pizza Party podcast does, that like they either have no topic or they like just never get around to it. So I was trying to hope that we would be better than that,
Whoops.
and we are not. We are trash.
We fucked
but
up.
okay, so we've learned that we all wound up watching South Park at some point in our life when we were too young to really comprehend it or supposed to comprehend it.
Yeah.
We Dalton was shunned by his parents for watching Powerpuff Girls because it's a girls' cartoon show, even though it totally was unisex and they made stories that worked for both boys and girls. It just happened to be, Powerpuff Girls is probably one of the most progressive cartoons for feminists, arguably.
I mean, yeah, you had the mayor who was a drooling idiot. The
Miss Bella
I
took
need your
care of
help.
them. Miss
Why
Bella.
did you? I say feminist, you go straight into like insulting a male character.
I'm
Good job,
sorry.
Dalton.
I'm sorry. Okay, I don't mean to do that. That's just what I've been conditioned to think.
I
Let's
was
not
like,
get into that.
I'm like over here being like, well, they had like these characters that were characters and not just female characters. You had the Powerpuff Girls. They weren't just like automatically just girls. Because, like there's a bad like vibe when it comes to cartoons, especially older cartoons, where you have like distinctive characters and then one of those character archetypes is just female. Like that's literally their whole
Yeah.
characters. They're the girl. Or they're the hot girl, and then there's a nerdy girl next to her. Like, because you can't have anything in between.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going for. Not that there's an idiot. Well, there's Professor Uranium. He's smart.
what was that movie we recently watched? Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of bothered me that the main characters had like that generic Disney look, but they had
Well,
extras.
like the ladies, at least, not the boys.
Yeah, the ladies, but the extras, like, the characters only appeared for a
Yeah.
couple seconds. They had so much more style in comparison. Like,
Yeah, that's because
s-
the main girls in Disney movies have to be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
it's
Quotations
but
over pretty.
it,
The problem, what Emmy's trying to say is that on merchandise and on posters, they have to, because Disney hit. The reason why everyone looks like Rapunzel, or like essentially everyone looks like Rapunzel now, is because they hit that, like they've designed the perfect female animated character. They've hit
Yep.
what they see as the most appealing marketable thing, and they can't deviate to it too far because it will potentially lower sales.
well, the thing is with that movie specifically, did Disney do Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Was that Disney?
No,
That's
no,
DreamWorks.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that character does look identical to the main character, the girl with like the blonde
Does she?
hair. She looks like identical. They
I don't
look like the
remember.
same
Maybe I'm
character.
remembering that.
And
Hold on.
the girl with the shorter hair, I forget.
Hold on,
I don't remember
I'm
anyone's
typing it
names
very
in that movie.
slowly.
But the one with the
the-
shorter hair, that looks just like the mom from The Incredibles.
Oh my God, yeah,
The
the
same
ant.
hair,
Mhm.
everything.
I think you're talking about like the big eyes, the tiny pointy nose.
Yeah, it's like she and the glasses. Like I think there's like I think
like
it was the
the little
second one where she
mouth.
had the glasses. They look like identical.
I would say she looks closer to Rapunzel, as a like redheaded Rapunzel.
She's still more
than she does.
stylized.
Yeah, I guess. I guess now looking at it now, like side by side,
But like
it's
I
I can
do
see
see
where
what
you're-
you're talking about because like the round face, the big eyes,
and like lanky and
all the
tall.
proportions.
I think there's reoccurring design theory or design like elements that it could be easily put together, but I don't think they're like the same like foundation.
Mhm.
I think it's more the accessories put together make them similar characters.
Yeah.
visually.
But that's the problem though, is like that they look close enough to where like I get confused. Like, is that the same character? But it really did bother me in that movie that the extras seemed to have a lot more like I don't know, like it looks like someone actually designed that as
Well,
a
even guy
character.
characters tend to be more stylized and like what Luke was pointing out when we were watching that is that they all had like different noses
Mm-hmm.
and different shaped faces and everything.
Well, because you expect something out of a main character. You expect a certain level of appeal. You expect a certain level of looking like an action hero. They have to be like have a lot of variety to it. With Hero or any of the other characters, Fred I think was one of their names. They need to be able to be both heroic at some points, but also be flawed and cartoony and comical at other points. When it comes to background characters, their only goal is to get a reaction out of you, and it's much easier to have a exaggerated, look to
Well,
them.
The point that we were trying to make with that was it was the main characters that looked all different. If you looked at all the male main characters, there really wasn't two characteristics
Oh.
Yeah.
that match.
I thought you were saying. Oh, well, that's a problem with all of Disney animation. Look at Inside Out, where like the emotions you have fear and anger, which are like abstract shapes, but
Yeah.
then you have like four or the other three characters who are humanoid because they can't be abstract because abstracts, if they don't have a certain hourglass look to them, they're not female. They don't
Yep.
register as female.
They all have to have big round faces, the
And-
same big ol' eyes.
Oh,
Oh,
'cause, like-
sadness is my favorite. Let me get that straight.
I actually really like Envy, even though she doesn't look like an abstract shape at all, and all of them are supposed to still have shapes.
Mhm.
Anger is square, fear is this like wiggly line. Apparently, Joy is supposed to look like a star.
A star?
Yeah, failed that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she looks like a star. Like,
That was their goal. Like that was the thing, and then I think it slowly became less and less of a star and more of just now it's a female.
Yep, that's it. That's all. She...
Now
if you want to learn how to make female characters that aren't like shaped like females, look at SpongeBob. You have Mrs. Puff, who's literally an oval.
I'm not talking about this or this. I'm talking about this.
Man, fucking,
well, I mean, their main character's a square as well,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
They're also fish.
All right, so TV shows that I personally watched and didn't feel like I was supposed to, or like I wouldn't, maybe embarrassed maybe like if okay, it's not a cartoon, but do you guys remember Degrassi?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember I didn't have cable for a very long time in my household. Like it always like happened for like a couple of months, and then my mom would cancel it or something. So like my I remember mostly watching stuff on like Fox Kids or snowy version of WB because it never came in clear. So like I never had like a very clear viewing experience.
Nobody's gonna know what you're talking about. The channel didn't come in clear.
Okay, just imagine a bunch of static and on top of an overlay of your show,
Yeah.
and it's all white, and sometimes like every second, every frame, the clarity changes from either being slightly better or even more worse. But that was my viewing session. If you wanted a good TV, you paid for it, but we did not pay for it. Instead, I played video games, but. We did have cable at certain points, and late at night there was this episode of Degrassi that aired, and like I don't know why, but I felt like it was aimed for like I felt like it was a drama show for girls. So like I wound up like watching it, and then like whenever I heard my mom get up to like get a glass of water or something or use the bathroom, I remember just like flipping it up to another channel up or something.
Oh my gosh.
Like I was almost embarrassed by it because it was just like, oh, this is not targeted towards me. I'm supposed to be watching something else.
Watched Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
The
I did
boy
not watch
show.
that.
I watched Power Rangers for the first couple of. I have a weird history with them. I remember watching Mighty Morphin. I don't remember a lot of the later season of Mighty Morphin or Zero. I remember some parts of Zero, and I remember some parts of Turbo, and I remember a lot of Space. But then like there's a bunch of like spottiness, and then I remember watching Time Force, and I really love Time Force.
Ugh.
I dropped off after Mighty Morphin. that was my show though, when I was
Nerds.
younger.
But another TV show that I watched that I thought I wasn't supposed to was As Told by Ginger. Do you guys remember
Oh
that?
yeah, the people that made Rugrats in that wonky art style.
I like the show a lot. In fact, I kind of want to like. I don't know if it's on Netflix or not, but I feel like I need to like rewatch that soon. But I remember it being mostly like it had female characters. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
it dealt with a lot of female like problems.
Definitely.
And so like I felt like I wasn't the target demographic, so I never talked about it at school
Aw.
or anything. I'm just like I really like the show, but I'll never say. How about that Danny Phantom?
Danny Phantom was cute.
Danny Phantom was awesome. I if I had to like go through like all the TV shows I was obsessed with as a kid, it was like Beast Wars, Digimon, Danny Phantom.
Sailor Moon was my obsession, but everyone already knows that.
That was another one that like I never told anyone I watched as a kid.
Oh, there's no
This
shame.
is- No, but I have to keep in mind this is different era now. I'm
I
like,
know.
I'm totally down. I'm down for any like girls cartoon show as long as it's got a decent enough plot.
Sailor Steven.
Sailor Stev. Man. So like, I think I got asked recently if I liked My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic.
Oh boy.
What are you guys' thoughts on Friendship is Magic?
Okay.
It was good until the bronies came in
Oh,
and started dictating everything. Like
Well,
you can't, you have to
like
give a
the-
voice to Derpy Hooves.
the hardcore bronies.
It was all good until the Fire Nation
Like-
attacked.
Yeah, it's basically
Like
what
it was a good like charming show. Like
yeah, it was.
you know,
It was really cute, but then they started pandering to the older audience, and it just turned
it turned into
Bad.
we're trying to split appease
like
both
there
audiences.
was one episode that was literally all pandering because it focused on background characters, but in like the fanon way, like fans, their headcanons. They made them
Was that the
legit.
100th episode?
It might have been.
I don't
Like they
know.
had dubstep in it, and they had two characters that people would put together as like a couple, have like little sort of moments, and they lived together. Like they just did everything that was on the internet
Mm.
for headcanons, and they put it in this episode, and it was garbage.
Well, because, like, wasn't Derpy the one character that, like, literally the fans made in a way? Because I know it was a background character in
Yeah,
her,
it just used to
and
be
they
a little Easter egg character that was funny to see if you
Yeah,
found it.
it was
it,
basically in every episode she was just somewhere.
And that was
right.
cute.
And then the fans came out with, like, this backstory headcanon of, like, her being the mail carrier and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then eventually, cause she had a different name. She wasn't even Derpy Hooves before.
No, she wasn't.
She was something else. And then I made that one episode where it got a big deal. I remember like
Ooh.
hearing about
Yeah,
it.
they messed up real bad.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Like, honestly, that's when it was done for me. I'm like, all right, this is where the adult audience is taking over.
Well,
Like,
let's clarify what happened in the shot real quick. Basically, in the episode, Droopy is hanging out with Rainbow Dash. They're trying to build something. I think, but potentially something Derpy accidentally destroyed previously, and they're fixing it. And they just kind of make Derpy into this kind of klutzy character. And she's voiced with I think it was more of a male voice.
It was
that
a
upset
very, like, reminiscent of someone who may have, like, mental disabilities or something.
it was kind of like Rainbow, it was kind of like, and it could be interpreted as someone that was mentally handicapped.
Yeah, parents were very
yeah.
upset
And
about
like,
it.
like that's the thing. It's like you have these like the adult audience trying to like defend it. It's like you do realize this show is not. It's not
not made
intended
for
for
you.
you. Like, who cares if you personally feel this show or like the voice it's meant to be dumb, and you can't throw logic at children. You have to throw something at them that they can understand. And when they see someone who just talks a little weird and they're clumsy, it's like, oh, they're weird. Like, you want to teach kids.
And, like, it just seemed kind of mean. I don't know.
Yeah, like you
I didn't
gotta
like it.
give kids the impression that these aren't people to avoid. These are people that you need to, they're just other people. That's
Yeah.
all. And the kids do get, moral lessons from these shows.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, the adults may understand the difference, but this isn't an adult show. This is for
Nope.
children.
Yep.
And I remember a lot of people being really upset by the choice of voice.
Yeah.
Like, everyone had their own headcanon of what she sounds like.
Uh-huh.
And that was one of the things that, like, that they were in a non-winning battle no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Because Derpy was a popular character where everyone had Derpy was a popular character that was a background character who literally spoke no lines up until season, like, 2 or 3. And that means everyone had their own idea of what her personality, what her voice, and just how, like, what Derpy is. And as soon as you try to, it's like one of those horror movies where everyone knows what scares them the most, but as soon as you start labeling things, it already starts alienating people away from it. And that's what happened. But for me, My Little Pony just wasn't really something that I wanted to watch on a weekly basis. I like a lot of the two-parters. I think those are really cool. But aside from the slice of life stuff, I don't think the characters are really that super interesting, and they still feel kind of archetypes. Like, sometimes they come off a little one note, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate from people who are really big fans.
Oh no,
but...
we've probably triggered the entire community at this point.
But it's just like, I appreciate the fact that they make Flash look great. It's one of those shows that get to be an example of why Flash can be good. I like a lot of the design elements, a lot of the visual stuff I really like, and a lot of the voice acting is really sweet. Any show that can bring, Weird Al in and make him a character is awesome. And I really like the Zebra and Big Mac. I think those are really cool characters. Zamora, I think.
Sakura?
Something. But the Zebra is, like, my favorite out of all of them. Like, if I had to buy a My Little Pony figure, it would have been the Zebra.
Yeah, she's cool.
But but as far as the main cast goes, I could see why people are attached to them. I could see why people like them.
Yeah.
But they're also just not that appealing to me per se.
They're all very specific, like, like Fluttershy, she's the shy one. Rarity, she's the snooty one. Rainbow Dash is the tomboyish, competitive one.
Versus, say, a show like, and this is going to get a lot of hate right
Oh,
here.
boy.
Compare it to, like, Steven Universe, where Pearl's the snug one, but she's also has moments of weaknesses and
Yeah.
in a different and more realistic and three-dimensional ways than, say, how Rarity has ever been portrayed on the show.
Yeah.
So, and like someone's like, well, you said you didn't like it, so you didn't watch all of it. Well, I watched 2 seasons of it to make sure that it was something I was going to be interested in, and if I ever had to talk about it, I would be knowledgeable enough to hold my own.
You watched 2
conversation.
seasons just like as an experiment?
No, like,
Like no,
well, okay.
no, like just to see if you'd like it. That just seems that's more dedication than most people would put forth to something.
Well, keep in mind that the first 2 episodes of the first season was really, really solid. I loved them. And then the finale was like, I like a lot of the 2-parters.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime they have like a main story focus where it changes the dynamic of the show, totally down for it. But when it comes to the slice of life stuff, it's a lot of like hit or miss and meh. And so I watched most of the first season. I watched most of this. I was at the time I was watching along with people during the second season, and then I just stopped. Like that's when I was like, all right, I never really considered myself a Brody. I just considered myself enough to, like, you know, especially I teach animation at schools, and Bronies was a reoccurring thing that kind of popped up. And Brony's got a lot of hate within the teacher faculty room.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just interesting because, like, one of my coworkers was a huge feminist, but then also, like, attacked student, like, not really attacked, but, you know, like, have arguments with students about, you know, how he liked My Little Pony, and my coworker just couldn't comprehend you know that this generation's kind of openness to it. Like to him, it's okay for guys to like girls. Like my instructor, you know, he's feminist. He believes in gender equality, but then he also has very traditional mindset as well because he's older.
Yeah.
And so like I think it might have been less about him being against bronies and more against people our age being still obsessed with so much young, what's considered children's entertainment.
Yeah.
Video games and cartoons.
Well, the reason why they think it's children's entertainment because we are the first generation growing up with like video games, maybe not cartoons, but video games. Because if you ask, you know, older generations, what do they think of like Bugs Bunny? What do they think of the Jetsons? They're like, oh, I love those shows. You know, my parents even had like my mom had like mugs of like the Flintstones and stuff. And like, would that make her like, you know,
Well,
a
the
big
difference
baby?
there's a difference there. The difference was when those shows were coming out, cartoons weren't dubbed kids cartoons just yet. See, when it comes to TV demographics, in the early days, channels were made based off niches and ideas. You know, you had Tech TV, talked about tech. That's all it was nothing but technology. You had MTV, that was nothing but music. Cartoon Network was nothing but cartoons. I know some of these things are kind of like newer-ish, but you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past, cartoons weren't necessarily a kid's medium. It just happened. Like, the Flintstones isn't a kid's cartoon. While it was a drawing and it did appeal to kids, it was just a adult sitcom. It was the Honeymooners, but animated and put in, you know, caveman style. It's those shows appealed to a wider audience, and keep in mind that Flintstones was a primetime TV show, not a Saturday morning cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, cartoons are for kids because kids made up a big demographic of cartoons, and toy commercials want to sell to kids, so you have to design TV shows what kids would watch so they could put more toy commercials that are most efficient, and they could charge more for those commercials because, well, the toy commercial people, the toy salesmen are only looking for those demographic, and the bigger you can get, they don't care about the other ones. So
Yeah.
a lot of these, you know, it's like, oh, great, this show has a really like big older audience, and all they're thinking is like, well, the commercials aren't going to sell well, so canceled.
That's not really. I don't know. Like I don't really agree with that way of practice. I guess it's mentality of making money,
Yeah.
but
I don't agree with it. I'm just saying that's how it is.
I don't know. If something appeals to a certain demographic, it really like whatever. Another thing that we were talking about yesterday with Luke was that new movie that's coming out by Disney. What is it? What was it? Zootopia?
Oh, the furry movie?
Yeah. No. Like
I made it
like
funny.
it's kind of amusing that people are like this is to appeal to the furries, but like if you think about it, Disney always kind of had like anthropomorphic
They always
animals
did.
in their movies, and they haven't done that in a long time, and they're bringing it back. And now people are like, "Oh my God, furries!" Like, no, they did that before, like with a lot of movies.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that a
You know,
furry?
Mickey?
Like those weren't
Mickey
furry movies
himself?
before. Yeah, Mickey Mouse. Like is
The
he a
Disney
furry?
Afternoon. Remember the Disney Afternoon? DuckTales, Darkwing
Oh
Duck,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, like
Jungle
come
Book,
on.
or Tailspin.
There's always anthropomorphic
Lion
animals.
King.
Lion King
It
was
just
not anthropomorphic.
Well, anthropomorphic, like in its literal term, just means giving human characteristics to
No,
something.
that means making it like kind of humanoidish.
No. Anthropomorphization is adding human characteristics to anything. It's not even just animals. But in the strict sense, a lot of times people associate it with exclusively making a human-shaped character, but then adding animal characteristics to it, like Disney does. Both of those are accurate uses of that term.
Steven saves the day.
I just found that was on the subject of like things that are kind of like misunderstood with cartoons. That seems like something that I don't know. Like I get it will appeal to furries. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah,
but
well.
at
In
the same
fact,
time-
it
Like a new
has,
wave.
and I'll
yeah,
leave it there.
it's poisoning children's minds.
Well, let's since we're on that subject, let's go ahead and kind of wrap up the show with furries because surprisingly, I don't know if it's just because I have a huge audience that happen to be artists, but I find that a lot of people who watch my channel happen to be furries, and maybe it's just because I look like a bear. It seems to be most women that are into me. Like every time I like try to do anything on dating, it tends to end up they're like, "Yeah, I'm a furry." I'm like, really? Like, why do I like? I'm not necessarily like because in particular, what is wrong with being a furry? Because 9 times out of 10, it's usually people who relate to an animal and likes to draw themselves as a fantasy character. And what makes that any different than saying like me drawing my cartoon version of myself?
Yeah.
I've actually done a little research on this subject, and I know like there's a lot of reasons why people don't like furries, and a lot of it has to do with conventions and the way people represent furries at conventions. Because a lot of times when you associate a furry, you think of the furries at conventions, and they tend to wear fursuits. They're silent. They just make noises, and they're very touchy. Like they
Yeah.
like to if you ever speak with someone who's a furry, they like, oh yeah, we like to give hugs out, and that makes people very uncomfortable. Like, oh, this greasy man is hugging me, which that's like the stereotype. Every furry is some greasy man or inside of a fursuit.
Am I a furry? Am I like I like giving hugs. I draw myself as a cartoon character, and I go to convention. I'm a furry.
I guess so,
No.
Steven.
No.
But that's a big reason why people don't like them, is because a lot of convention goers they get kind of
It's just different people
Upset
and different
about it.
reputations.
yeah, and a lot of
It's not
people.
like everyone's like that.
No, I mean they just get a lot of hate because I think like you get to no one ever understands what they're talking about on the internet. Let's just face that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and everyone always goes with secondhand information, and like you see a lot of like people maybe like 4chan or something that like insults furries, and it's usually based off
Careful
of
there,
like
Steven.
what.
Careful there.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of sites, like, okay, fine, then Reddit, is that better? Is that the more efficient? Anyways, I've seen people on popular image sharing sites or something that, like, their only exposure or thought of what a furry is the people that just draw porn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it just well, I don't know. It's interesting because, like, it does seem that furries kind of overlap in, like, the kink community or something.
Yeah, they do.
It is.
I think it might be just alternate lifestyles tend to kind of overlap with each other. Or it might be that everyone's just nerds in both of those categories.
Yep.
And
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with just people aren't. It's not a very, like, it's a very recent thing. It's not been around that long in comparison to, like, most fetishes out there where, like, people are like, oh yeah, I really like feet, or I really like legs, or just something kind of.
well, feet's been around forever.
Yeah.
Disney animation just kind of came out like in the 30s.
Yeah, I mean there has been like I'm sure there has been like, what you could call furries like, a long time ago, but it hasn't been like a thing like where been as common as it is now. And I think a lot of that has to do with, cartoons and whatnot, like, just like we're saying with like Disney. But it's just weird to people. It is a very weird thing for people to understand. Like, what you mean you like animals? That makes you a pedophile because kids watch Disney. Like,
And why pedophile?
yeah,
I
just
don't know. The first thing I would have thought was like, "Are you into that bestiality, boy?"
yeah. Well, there's like this misconception with like every sexual thing. If you're this, then you're automatically a pedophile until everyone understands what it is. Like that was a big thing with people being gay. Everyone thought you're gay, stay away from my little boy. You're gonna be interested in him. It's like no, he's
What was that
just
topic
gay.
again?
I thought they were like mostly like trying to keep the gays away from the kids so they don't convert their kids into the gays because that's the gay agenda.
I've heard both. Like I've heard pedophile just as much as I've heard you're gonna turn my son gay.
I want to clarify that both of us come from somewhat considered southern states. Like mine more so because I'm from Kentucky, and you guys are from
Ohio.
Ohio.
We live.
Is that considered?
We've lived in Ohio most. I've lived in Ohio most of my life.
I lived in Illinois.
Yeah, people
Right.
can be kind of stupid, like with these subjects. It's like, how do you instantly jump to like pedophile with some of these like kinks and stuff? It just there's no connection whatsoever with furries other than cartoons may have been the source.
I've never ever heard anyone say anything about furries being
Oh,
pedophiles.
that's a pretty common accusation. Like they're borderline pedophiles because
I'm
I've
just.
heard pedo bear.
What was our topic?
furries.
Okay.
No, that was not. Our
Right now.
topic.
No, that was our topic. Like right now, though.
Oh yeah, that's what the topic became. I was just trying to talk about like watching girls' cartoons when you weren't supposed to, or when you thought you weren't supposed to, like Totally Spies or something. And
I like
this is
those.
where we ended it. By the way, at PopCon this year, we have the voice Jennifer Hale is going to be there, and she's the voice of both Sam and Mindy in that show.
Oh yeah.
So that's exciting for you. Yeah, so that's my indie popcorn plug for the. Yeah, come to it, guys. I help out with it, and we got both of us are going to be there as guests.
Yeah.
Yes.
If anyone's interested in going, it is June 17th to the 19th.
You sure?
I believe so. I believe that's the dates. Check it out. There's gonna be a lot of cool people. From what I could tell, it sounds like I don't know how many of these guys have been announced yet. I help out with the YouTube announcement, so this might be leaked information. But I know the completionist, the Dex. We have that there's potential of Jesse Cox, potential of Dodger. There's potential, and when I say potential, I mean we've contacted it. They gave us a verbal. Yeah.
So are we gonna get all three of the co-optionals in there?
I don't know about Total Biscuit. I think a lot of his health issues.
Yeah.
And then also we got Ninja Sex Party, which is super exciting. We got the guy who does all the Honest trailers. The deep guy, the deep voice guy that I can't do this summer. We got there's so many people. I'm trying to think of which ones I'm allowed to say because those are pretty safe. Those are ones that we just need them to sign the papers and then they're gonna be on the site. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's all super exciting. So that's awesome. I'm glad that we kept on our topic today of what we're attending, and we ended on furries.
Hey,
job.
at least we didn't get to the normal end game for internet conversations.
What the meaning
yeah,
of
what's
life?
that?
Politics or religion.
And then
Is that? I guess it
happens.
might.
Yeah.
That's like the end game for all arguments or conversations online.
Okay, I can see that. But yeah, so is there any final things you guys want to say or plug before we end today's show?
I have to pee again.
come on, man.
That's what I have to say.
Great. These guys are Jaltoid, Dalton and Emmy. They animated some of your favorite cartoons on the web, particularly about gamer girls and sandwiches.
God.
And yeah, they are lovely people. They also have a Let's Play channel that may or may not be updating at the moment. I can't remember.
No. We'll get back to it eventually. We tend to go on and off with that.
And they have a lot of cool stuff in the works, I believe.
Yes.
So that's all exciting. And you can follow them on Twitter as Jaltoid. They share the same account.
Yeah.
Yep.
We share everything.
You can always tell who's who based off of what facial expressions they use for like when they type and how they say things.
I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure.
Not you. You'd probably be surprised which ones are which sometimes.
Probably.
It's
The girly ones are Dalton.
probably.
And yeah, and if you are new to my channel for somehow, I guess they could come from yours, I guess. I'm Stev Bro. You can follow me on Twitter at Stev Bro, and I am working on things as well, just not for my channel because I don't animate for my channel. No, I made myself sad.
Oh no.
That's one of my favorite jokes. Is I think some people get upset about it, but on Twitter, like I posted, I was like, "Oh, got on this subject. Now I made myself sad." But yeah, we're gonna end this thing now. This was the In Between podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed your time.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually we might have Jaltoid back again if I can come up with an interesting topic we can stay on subject
boy.
for. And see you guys soon, and stay awesome.
Yeah.